Hi everyone, welcome to A Beer with Brad, episode 18. Tonight I'm going to talk about vacation, but first let's talk about the beer. Before we get started, I do need to apologize to Keg Creek Brewing. Last time I said I had a crush by Keg Creek Brewing. It's actually Kush, so I apologize. I did fix it in the notes down below the video, so hopefully if anyone watched the video and was confused by what I said, it was Kush. I called it Crush. I don't know why. It's one of those things where I had it in my head, ahead of time where I can't mess this up, and then what did I do? I messed it up. So, which is funny because I've had it a few different times over the last couple years, or last at least year that it's been out, and it's a really good beer. So, apologize to Keg Creek that I messed up the name of that. Tonight I'm having a Floyd the Barbarian, and I did double check just now to make sure that I got the name right, but Floyd the Barbarian is by Fledged Brewing in Council Bluffs. Fledged Brewery opened in 2019, and it's Council Bluffs' first and only modern craft brewery. Have a lot of good beers. They have the Council Kolsch, which I really like. They have, I think it's called Dank Heavens. Is another IPA they have, and then this Floyd the Barbarian is probably my favorite from
Fledged Brewing. Fledged Brewing.
Right by the Mid-America Center, there's a little shopping center on the southwest side of the Mid-America Center, and it's right there. It's a beautiful, big, wide open brewery, great space, and they have a lot of great beers. As far as where you could pick this one up, I see it all over Omaha. In fact, this one today I just picked up at one of the local grocery stores, and it's a great beer you can find about anywhere. So, Floyd the Barbarian by Fledged Brewing. Just a real nice IPA, lots of good flavor there. So tonight I want to talk about vacation. Just got back last night, about 9-10 o'clock at night, and from a family vacation. Actually supposed to get back this afternoon, but yesterday we were on the road, and everything was just going smooth. The kids were in a great mood. Everyone was having a good time. Well, it was as good a time as you can have for being in the car. So we just kept going. Original plan was to drive to about North Platte, Nebraska, and then spend the night in North Platte, and then make the final 4-hour journey back to Omaha and past North Platte, and then next thing you know, we're past Kearney, we're past Grand Island, approaching York, and it's time to just to put the pedal to the metal at that point and get home. Ended up driving 904 miles in 14 hours. So daylight savings time in there. It was actually 14 hours in the car. Or not daylight savings time. Went from mountain time to central time. So left Park City bright and early, just before 7 in the morning. Park City, Utah is just in the mountains above Salt Lake City. And then basically Park City, around the north side of it, is Interstate 80. Get on Interstate 80 and go till you hit Interstate 680 here in Omaha. So it was a fairly easy drive. There are a lot of beautiful scenery on the way. I fully intended of at least making a short video of the trip, going out, coming back, and then a little bit of photography while I was out there. But I didn't shoot a single video yesterday on the way home. I did take some on the way out, so there's just a little bit of different, a couple scenes in Nebraska on the way out, and then a couple scenes in Wyoming, and then maybe one in Utah coming down Echo Canyon, and then that was it. I don't know that I turned the GoPro on the rest of the trip, and I had it up in the dashboard, or in the window of the car, ready to go. So all I had to do when we were driving around was hit the button, and I just didn't hit the button. So that video, and I didn't shoot any video the one time I went out and worked on some photography. So that video probably won't ever see the light of day. But so I mentioned this was a vacation. It was a family vacation. With my wife and our 2 kids, we went out to Park City. We spent one night in Rawlins, Wyoming on the way out, and then the rest of the time we were in Park City. And so this was a family vacation and not a photography trip. And the big difference is when I go on a photography trip, it's just me or with another photographer, and the whole point of the trip is photography. So there's usually a sunrise photo location every morning. If there's not daytime, if you find something that works in the daytime, you do some daytime photos. There's also a lot of scouting around, trying to find good compositions for the upcoming photo shoots for the rest of the trip. And then there's usually an evening photo shoot, and then depending on the time of year, it's usually back to wherever we're sleeping, whether it be camping or a hotel. get rest, charge the batteries in the camera, and then right back up the next morning and do it all over again. So on the family vacation, the goal was more to just have fun with the kids, the wife and kids, and we also had a family reunion towards the end of the vacation, so we saw a lot of family from Nebraska, Colorado, and California, and so there really wasn't a ton of time for photography. The second morning or third morning, one of the two, we took the kids on what I thought was going to be a pretty easy hike, and we hiked up to a little lake. It was called the Blood Lakes Trail. Hiked up to this little mountain lake. It was really cool, and the kids had Mila was in a backpack, so she was just riding on my back the whole time, so she had no work to do, just ride and enjoy the scenery. But Barrett was hiking on his own 2 feet, and so he got a little worn out towards the end of the hike, and by the end of it I think he was pretty much screaming, "I'm never hiking again." And then the rest of the trip, when I asked him if he wanted to go on a hike, he had no interest in it. Then the third or fourth night I went, after everyone was kind of settled in for the evening, I went out and did my own hike, and hiked up to a higher altitude lake. There was 3 lakes. I went to Mary Lake. There was Mary Lake, Catherine Lake, and Martha Lake maybe. And my goal was to get to the higher, the 2, the Catherine and the Martha, but I only made it to Mary Lake. I'm a little bit out of shape. I haven't done a ton of exercise. I mean, I've done some walking this summer, but I really haven't done any kind of exercise. And it was the 3rd or 4th day, so I would have figured I would have been a little more used to the altitude. But I'll tell you what, I started up this mountain, and it was basically, for the first half of the hike, you're walking up a ski run. So you're hiking up the ski run, the chairlifts over your head, and then your trees on either side. And I couldn't make it more than 100 yards at a time. I had to stop, catch my breath, and kept going, and it took way longer to get up. I got there earlier than I planned. It took me longer to get up than I was thinking, and then when I got up there, it was finally like I felt good. Got out. I took this picture here that you see, and I worked on some different compositions with it. I kind of moved around the lake. This is the one that I settled on, and then I came back to a few different times trying to get some different light. And it's pretty much the same. Up on the very top, you can see a little bit of sunlight on the peak, and then the rest of the whole valley and the lake and everything was in shade. And if I would have got up to the second or the third lake, that little tiny peak that you saw would have been in full sun, or like nice real evening golden full sun. The lake I was at was probably more of a morning lake, but I didn't have time. This time of year you would have had to have started hiking at like 3:30 or 4 in the morning to get up there at sunrise. And it just, I don't know, on a vacation where I'm already tired because we just went every day, it wasn't probably going to happen that early in the morning. So a dedicated photo trip that would have been worked into the plan, where we could have been either camped real close to there or been real close, hiked up, and maybe did something easier the night before, or have something easier afterwards. So it was just it would have made it a lot more what's the word? It would have made it a lot easier to work in, and maybe put it at the end of the trip when you're a little more used to altitude. Here in Omaha, we're at right at 1,000 feet, and out there where I was hiking on these lakes was close to 9,000. So even with 4 days of acclimating, it just still wasn't meant to be to get much higher than that night. Overall, it was, even though I didn't take any pictures, it was still a great family trip. The kids had so many fun experiences, so many firsts. We went to the Olympic Park in Park City and watched ski jumpers like 3 or 4 different days. We went and watched the bobsled. It's summertime, but they have bobsleds with wheels on them. They run in the summertime. So we watched the bobsled go. The ski jumpers were the best because they would come off these lifts, and I'll put a video of it in here too. Come off and do these crazy flips, and it was so cool. And the bobsledders, you can see here, they were just flying. It was awesome. The kids loved it. The hiking wasn't the best part for them. We also did the alpine roller coaster, alpine slides. and hiked around or walked around the main street and saw some different things, went out to eat, and then spent some time with family. And the kids probably hit the pool, if not every day, just about every single day. So that was great. I'm glad we got to go. I am looking forward to a photography trip though, and this trip kind of really put me in the mood for hopefully this fall doing a mountain photography, a fall color mountain trip. I don't know whether that be the Tetons again and kind of have a rematch with that kind of failed trip a few years ago, or back to Colorado. I always love getting to Colorado. But being up in the mountains, hiking around, really put me in the mood to get back to the mountains for a dedicated photography trip to the mountains. So looking forward to that. Like I said yesterday, I drove 904 miles home, and I have two little things to ask of people. Drive in the right lane, pass in the left. That should be a no-brainer that everyone knows, but apparently it's not. And it always seems to be the worst in Nebraska. And in Wyoming, I drove all the way across the state of Wyoming. I don't think I ever had to wait for a car to move over to get out of my way. But in Nebraska, especially in eastern Nebraska, it's just terrible with left lane drivers. So if you're going to drive in the left lane, don't. Just, even if you're the fastest car out there, drive in the right lane and just use the left lane for passing. It makes everything easier. And then also use your cruise control. I don't know why that's so hard, and so many people don't use cruise control, but every time I'm on the interstate, it seems like that there's one car that is always out there matching the speed of everyone else. They're going way too slow, and then you go to pass them, and all of a sudden they're going faster than you are, and then so you get back behind them, and then they start to slow down again. Yesterday, there was this amazing time out in western Nebraska. I think it was eastern Wyoming, western Nebraska, where there was a pack of like 6 or 8 of us. We didn't know each other. We were all following each other. Everyone had their cruise control set at about 2-3 miles an hour, maybe 4 miles an hour over the speed limit, and we were all driving the right lane, and it was just like a centipede going around passing cars, and we just cruised, and there was no one hitting the brakes, no one had to change their speed, everyone just flowed, and we went around so many cars, and it was some of the most smooth, fun interstate driving I've had in a long time. And maybe that's why we had such great time getting back, was it was just flowing. So drive in the right lane and use your cruise control, please. One more thing before I'm out of here. Just over a month away, the week after Labor Day, is the big annual Rockbrook Village Art Fair. Once again, I will be there, and I'm really looking forward to it. But I need to actually start ordering prints for it now. I can get my regular photo prints, and I can get canvases, down the road in a couple weeks. But any plaque mounts and metal prints, I need to order basically now to get them in time. I use Duraplaque out in Longmont, Colorado for both my metal prints and my plaque mounts. They do an awesome job, and this stuff is just flawless and looks so good, but they take a long time. If I want something for the art fair, I really need to get it in the next couple days. So I need to get into art fair mode this week, or the next couple days probably. And then also, I have an idea. For some reason, the other night when I was getting ready to go to bed or whatever, I was laying there and I thought of like a different frame, print frame combo I want to do. So it's nothing new. It's stuff you've probably seen before, but it's something I've never done before. And I think I've mentioned it, but the last couple pictures that I've framed, I've actually made the frames myself. I've gone to the store and bought the lumber, and then got the router out, cut out the pieces, routed out the slot for the picture, and I'm going to make the next one myself too. I'm going to get a little different wood, and I'll tell you about that later on down the road, but I'm really looking forward to it. It's just kind of something different. When I was out in the condo we stayed in Park City, there was a black and white Ansel Adams picture on the wall. It was really cool. I don't know if it was like a real, like legit, authentic print, probably not, but it didn't matter. It was still a nice print, and still a nice Ansel Adams picture, a really nice black and white, a really famous scene of Snake River. But it was thrown in a cheap frame with a regular mat, and I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but if you ever mat a picture, it needs to be acid-free. Now, everyone will tell you it needs to be acid-free because they'll ruin the picture if it's not, but the first thing to go on a non-acid-free mat is the inside, the bevel of the mat turns yellow, and it looks terrible. You got a black and white print with a white mat and a black frame, and then all of a sudden you have this yellow line around the inside of the picture, and it looks awful. So that's my little acid-free mat rent. But I'm looking forward to this picture, and if it comes out as good as it does in real life as it does in my mind, I'm pretty excited. So hopefully either next month I'll be able to show it to you in my video. Hopefully it'll be at the Rockbrook Village Art Fair, and then maybe I'll even make a little video about how I made it. So we'll see how it goes. But really looking forward to the art fair. I love doing the art fairs. You know, I only do a couple a year, but they're a lot of fun, and then it's also a lot of work in the next month to get everything lined up and ready. So, well, thanks for joining me again this month. Hope you're enjoying your Floyd the Barbarian. I got to remember to put that out on social media so that people have time to pick up their Floyd the Barbarian before they watch the video, so they can have one too. So again, this you can get at any grocery store or bottle shop around town, around the Omaha metro area, Omaha and Council Bluffs. So great beer coming out of Council Bluffs. Well, that's going to do it. Thanks for tuning in this month, and we'll see you again next time.